Hello everyone and welcome to episode 3 of my Undead Priest Hardcore Let's Play series, where we are indeed playing hardcore, where we only have one life. And today is the final episode of this series, because no matter what, if I get as far as I want to go, I am going to end up dead at the end of this episode, which, if you're confused by what that means, I have a couple of very fun things that I want to attempt to do, and ultimately I'm probably not even going to make it as far as I dream of, and I'm probably going to die pretty quickly. Where let's go ahead and go over the game plan, where I have explored a lot of Terraswell Glades and Silver Pine Forest, but there are some quests elsewhere in the world that we can do for some experience. And since this is a hardcore challenge, I want to go ahead and really challenge myself, and by challenge myself, probably instantly die in the process. Where we have a few quests located in a certain area of the world that we could do if we wanted to, where we can see that we are currently in the Undercity, and we have Terraswell Glades around here and the northern parts of the Eastern Kingdoms. But if we come all the way down here into the southern parts of the Eastern Kingdoms, we can see that there are a few quests that we can do. One of which is we can actually do Hilary's Necklace in Red Ridge Mountains for Sean, where we can get Hilary's Necklace, which is located in the Lake Everstow here, which I don't think I could even possibly do at this level, and there's like 0% chance that we even do that. But if we want to look at something that's like a 5% chance of doing, we can see in Westfall we have Captain Grayson, who is actually a neutral quest giver, so Alliance and Horde players alike can go ahead and come here and do these quests and get experience from doing these quests, which is super interesting. And they're probably going to be a little bit of the more challenging end of quests for me, because I'm kind of a low level right now. But in order to get to Westfall, we have to travel all the way there, as you do in order to get to places, where we are going to go ahead and take the Zeppelin to Gromgo Base Camp, which is located right here, pretty close, just down the coast from the lighthouse. And from there, I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to do. Where first we need to get to Gromgo, but before we get there, let's go ahead and explore a couple of other fun things. Where I want to return to my Night Elf Druid character that people who have been watching my Let's Play series should recognize from some of my recent videos and some of my recent Let's Play series, where I have been playing through this character and showing off some different things, where I am here in Northrend in the Wrath of the Lich King expansion, and I kind of want to just highlight a couple of different things from this expansion that are kind of cool. Where the first is kind of related to a little bit of a story that I've been telling alongside this character, and that is related to the great trees planted around the world. Where right here we can see Vordrasil, which, if I am to read the wiki, Vordrasil, meaning broken crown in Darnassian, are the remains of a world tree located in the Grizzly Hills of southern Northrend. Originally called Andrasil, meaning the crown of the snow, it was grown from a branch taken from Nordrasil by Fandral Staghelm and his druids in order to stop the spread of Serenite in the northern continent. Without the blessings of the aspects, however, it was vulnerable to the old god's corruption. The ancient druids were forced to fell the tree, which they renamed Vordrasil. It has since become the site of the Furbolg city of Grizzlemal, but since the tree's roots had pierced the prison of the old god Yogg-Saron, it led to the corruption of the Furbolg there. Andrasil allowed the old gods access into the Emerald Dream, from which they created the Emerald Nightmare. Within the Emerald Dream, as in the Legion expansion, Andrasil still stands tall, even as the Emerald Nightmare corrupts the rest of the area. Parts of the tree include Vordrasil's heart, limb, tears, and a passage through a major portion of the trunk, where we can see this major portion of the trunk here where the Furbolgs are trying to regrow the tree, and there is a big quest line in this zone that you can go on, where you basically fight the Furbolgs, and you kind of learn about the corruption, and you explore these different areas related to the tree, where the tree fell down, and it leads to fighting the wild god Ursoc, which you can find over there, who is kind of like resurrected and like undeath or something along those lines, and you fight him. But alongside this tree is a step for the main quest line in Grizzly Hills, and it is a very interesting quest line because it is related to the Worgen, which in Silver Pine Forest, as we have explored in this Let's Play series, there is a major story related to the Worgen, and alongside that we have Archmage Arigo, who is like human mage that kind of like brought the worgen into this world like once again, and we basically defeat him in the Shadowfang Keep dungeon, which I've done on a couple of streams. But here in Northrend, we learn through this quest chain, and I'm just going to do this one quest right here because it's kind of like a cinematic, where there is this like community of hunters that live all across the Grizzly Hills. And I did this all on a stream that, if I remember, I'll link down in the description as well, alongside a bonus video on this character that I'll link as well. But these hunters are humans that just live in Grizzly Hills, and they were relatively ordinary people that kind of just decided they wanted to live in Northrend, kind of away from like the rest of the world and kind of close to the undead, which is dangerous. But we learn that these hunters aren't normal hunters, where they are worgen, and this entire zone has a lot of story and quests related to the worgen, where we are investigating this Arugo because he may potentially be alive once again, and we come to this person here where we can go ahead and do this quest, and I won't give a lot more context on that, and we can go ahead and use this Gossamer potion on this crystal ball here for an out-of-body experience, and we are getting teleported to the Eastern Kingdoms, where we are about to see kind of a cinematic where we are in Pyrewood Village in Silverpine Forest, and we can see the shade of Arugo here, as well as 4 Sand Lane princes, which are blood elves that worked for Kael'thas that were turned into undead during the Frozen Thorn, where Valinor says, "Rise, Arugo, the power of the Lich King commands you." And then Therodis says, "Yes, he shall suit our needs perfectly. Have him sent to Solstice Village when you're ready. Arthas will not be pleased if we fall behind schedule." Where we can go ahead and continue with this whole quest chain, which I'm not going to do in this video, but we can just continue to explore this area and dealing with the worgen and kind of dealing with the undead, where Arugo has been transformed, and we can go ahead and kind of work towards defeating Arugo once again, where we kill him in a very cool area of the road that looks pretty similar to Shadowfang Keep. Where, speaking of Shadowfang Keep and Pyrewood Village, I am going to go ahead and go over there now, because you saw a little bit of a sneak peek in that cutscene there, but it got a little overhauled in the Cataclysm expansion, and I kind of just want to take a quick look at it. Where this is something that I have highlighted in my Season of Discovery Let's Play series a bit, but I just wanted to go a little bit more in depth here, where with the Cataclysm expansion, we got the Ruins of Goneas that served as the starting experience for worgen characters, which is a pretty cool area that I'm planning on highlighting and maybe a stream in the future. But of course, with Goneas, we got some story connected to it with Silverpine Forest, where we kind of saw, you could call it a little bit of a retcon maybe, or maybe just straight up an evolution of the zone, where we can go through the Greymane Wall, which we can see the gates are destroyed by the Forsaken as a part of the story that goes on here, and we can come out over here where we see Pyrewood Village and then also Shadowfang Keep, where the aesthetics of Shadowfang Keep is basically the same as it is in vanilla, but the dungeon itself is completely different. But Pyrewood Village is very, very different compared to how it is in the vanilla version of the game, as we explored a lot last episode, and by a lot we kind of just ran out here because it's an elite area, where I actually decently like the bits of retcon that went on with this area, where on one hand I really like the vanilla version of the game, maybe like if you were to compare them one to another more than this version, where I just love like the vibes of this area with like the big forest with like this giant wall with the human refugees hanging out by the wall pleading to get in, and it's like a dense wooden area filled with wolves and worgen, and one of the worgen is the son of Arugo that will almost kill you, and then you got this cool elite area here. But I do just kind of like the vibes of how this looks, and I especially like the updated architecture for Pyrewood Village, because it is the worgen or Goneas architecture that we see introduced with the Cataclysm expansion, and it gets used here and there throughout Cataclysm outside of Goneas, and then in future expansions as well, like especially Legion, where there is a cool Ghanaian camp there that I might throw into the bonus video in the description if I remember. And I just love this entire area and all the vibes around here. And of course, Silverpine Forest as a whole got overhauled a lot with the Cataclysm expansion, and it's a pretty different zone, and I just wanted to give a little bit of a sneak peek at it here. But now that we are done with that, we can go ahead and wait for the Zeppelin up here, where if I double check my inventory here, I got a couple of swiftness potions that might come in handy and a minor mana potion, and I made sure to stock up on food and water, more than enough, at least I think and hope that it's more than enough for what we need for this quest. Where we can go ahead and come all the way to the top of this Zeppelin tower here, where this one will take us to Duratar, but we can come over here and we can wait for the one that will take us to Gromgo base camp, where I was thinking about like trying to do this before like recording this so I can have like a better chance of making it there, but I thought it would be more fun, and we can see the Zeppelin coming into view right there, but I thought it would be more fun if I kind of just do it on the spot and come up with a strategy as I do it, where I think there are two general plans that we could go down, where in order to get there we could either take the road out of Gromgo, which is like a dirt path that is surrounded by a ton of raptors, and we can try to get to Duskwood, where we should be relatively safe, a little dangerous, but we should be able to survive through Duskwood to then get into Westfall, where we should be able to run there. But I feel like it is certain death because we are level 17 and all of these mobs around here are like level 35 and 30, and we are definitely going to pull all these mobs. Where I remember in the vanilla version of the game, I kind of just wanted to do this for fun, where I took like a level 5 human character and I ran all the way to Duratar so I could go hang out at Terragard Keep, I believe it's called, in Duratar as a human and like fight the orcs, except I didn't fight any orcs. Nobody would want to attack me. And in that process, I died many times, like 13 times just from here to here, which is basically what I want to do on this character, which is not that much higher than a level 5 character in the context of a bunch of level 35 mobs. Where I think another plan that we could do is to go ahead and swim there, where it is pretty dangerous here in the Vile Reef, where there are a ton of mobs, and we are going to have to try to kind of slither our way through them and get to the lighthouse, which I think I'll go check out the eastern like road out of here maybe really quickly before we head over here, and then I'll go ahead and just swim out this way. Where when it comes to defenses, we have some healing skills, which I don't think are going to help us too much, but we got Power Word Shield that might be able to block like part of an attack, and for the most part we're probably going to get like 2 or 3 shots. And then we also have Psychic Scream, which is going to be super important for us to use and will most likely not hit any of the enemies around us. So I think for the most part the only thing we got going for us is kind of our wit and our agility and I guess our speed as we go through this area. So let's go ahead, take the Zeppelin to Gromgo, and hopefully we don't die on the Zeppelin or something. That would be really embarrassing. Where we are now actually on the fly. This is smart. I didn't think this through at all. I just realized that the Zeppelin spawns into Stranglethorn right here, and I don't see any mobs here, where I was really concerned about like mobs like right here, and I don't see anything right there. We need to stay far away from those water elementals, and maybe, just maybe, this will be easier than I thought. Let's go ahead, just knock on some wood there, because I definitely don't want to curse myself. Where I'm not entirely sure what the enemies like or like over here, where I know this is like a safe spot because there are the Zandalari trolls that are hanging out here that are trying to help out with Zul'Gurub. And then we got the giant door that is the back entrance to the dead mines way over yonder, which we can't see right now. But I think if you just swim this way, I don't see any mobs around us. There's a bunch of water elementals over there. Let's go ahead, use our shield, and let's be really careful about this island, just in case there happens to be some sort of enemy on it that I don't remember there being. But once we get on like the other side of this island, we'll pretty much be outside of Stranglethorn Vale, and that will mean we are in Westfall, where we will be fighting Westfall level enemies, which is super interesting. And I don't see any enemies in front of us, so we might be safe here. And I can see Westfall and the lighthouse coming into view, which is a beautiful sight. We just got to Yojamba Isle, where we haven't covered that on our map. And I saw those lanterns over there, and I thought those were like red nameplates for like a quick second, but I don't think they are. And it looks like, yeah, it's just peaceful trolls around here, which I don't think we can actually see any of. Oh, there's one. There we go, a Servitor of Zanza right there, Vinchaksa, or how we pronounce that. where there is some cool music playing because we're in the aisle, and then we can see the entrance to the Dead Mines right there. And I think we are almost out of Stranglethorn Vale. So unless something horrible happens, I think we have made the first step of this journey, and we did it successfully, and we made it alive, which is beautiful. So we can go ahead and just swim straight into Westfall, where it's going to take a little bit of time to swim all the way to the lighthouse from here, where we're like halfway there now, maybe-ish, more than halfway actually. But of course, swimming is very slow. Where we are now in Westfall, we are outside of Stranglethorn Vale, and we can see this cool house up there that's like a fun little area that's relevant for like a paladin quest or whatever. And we can see these docks coming into view, where we are going to need to be careful of the coast here, because there are dangerous murlocs on the coast that we are going to have to fight. We can see the light from the lighthouse is shining brightly now that it finally loaded, because we got close enough. So that means we are even closer, and we can kind of see Stranglethorn Vale and that island there fading off in the distance. Where I guess, yeah, we need to be careful of this fisherman on the dock there, so let's not swim too close to the dock, where I don't think he'll attack us on sight, but let's not take any chances here. Where we might be able to survive against him. We definitely wouldn't be able to kill him because he's 8 levels higher than us, but we might be able to get like a psychic scream off, and we should be able to like power word shield, and we do have our couple of swiftness potions, which should be helpful for us. And we have made it to the Westfall Lighthouse, so it seems like we have successfully gotten through the first part of this journey, where we can go ahead and pick up these quests, and we can begin doing these quests, where this is mostly just like a fun few quests where we can like interact with this captain here, and we can fight some murlocs and avenge his old crew, and kind of like avenge this family that used to live in this lighthouse and died to the murlocs, and we can go ahead and try to clear the coast a little bit. So let's pick up these 3 quests, where we also have to go further inland, and we have to kill some of the Harvest Reapers, where I think the most challenging of these quests is going to be Old Murkai, but we also have to kill a total of 28 murlocs, so we're probably going to be here for a little bit. So let's go ahead and just start working away at this quest, where if we look at the Murloc Tidehunter, he is level 19 and is the number 4 deadliest in Westfall. So let's go ahead and do one fight here, where I'm kind of tempted to just try to fight Old Murkai and maybe just call it good, and we can go ahead and go do another thing that I want to do in this area of the world, where we're actually beating this Tidehunter pretty easily. And I think probably the main reason why he's such a high level, or like number 4 deadliest in Westfall, maybe because he's actually kind of kicking our butt right now, is because they are in like massive groups, and we need to be careful of them. Where for anyone who has been watching me for a long time, this is one of my first Let's Play episodes that I have ever uploaded on this channel on YouTube, which is kind of fun, and I'm kind of just remembering like making that episode quite some time ago and having fun with it, where we can see Old Murkai here, and let's go ahead and challenge this Murloc, where we have a few different defenses at hand that we can go ahead and use. But let's go ahead and open up with Smite and Mind Blast, and let's go ahead and back up a little bit here, where maybe we'll use a Psychic Scream, and we stun him there, which is nice. Let's get another Shadow Blast off, and another, nope. Okay, let's try to get a few more attacks in here. And then let's go ahead and do another Mind Blast, and let's go ahead and use our Minor Mana Potion. And he's running away, so it looks like we will be able to defeat him, which is beautiful. And we can go ahead and loot him and get the Scale of Old Murkai, which is that the only quest I want to do here? Let's see. Oh, we get Grayson's Torch, which is really cool, and Grayson's Wand, which is an upgrade for our wand. Or we could get the Buckler of the Seas there, which is cool. Where I think it must be with Cataclysm, a new item gets added where you get like, I feel like you get like a lantern or something from this quest or something. But we completed this one, and we killed one of the other Murlocs. Maybe we'll kill a Harvest Reaper on the way through, but I guess that's kind of all that I wanted to do. So I completed this challenge, and I killed Old Murkai. So we can go ahead, turn this in. We can get Let's get the torch, because the torch is cool looking because it like lights up around us. And we do have this cool runic staff, but Grayson's torch, we can see it has a light effect. Very fun fact for people who don't know, when World of Warcraft Vanilla was originally being developed, there was the plan for an additional, I believe, secondary profession, so similar to cooking, first aid, and fishing, which was basically like survival like ship or something along those lines, where you would be able to build some or create some different things that would help you survive in the world, and one of which was like torches that you could basically use to light the way through the world. Where originally the game was kind of being developed where night would be super dark, where we can see it is nighttime right now. It is 11 p.m. at night, and it's pretty light outside compared to how it would be in like real life with no natural or with no artificial lighting around here. Where of course the moon is a good light source, but it definitely feels kind of like the sun is out right now. Where I see a level 21 human priest right there, and I'm sure he's probably confused as to why I'm here, so let's go ahead and wave back at him. And a level 23 no mage right there. So this is one of the fun things about doing a challenge like this, where there's just so many people all around here, and we're just running through Westfall and kind of gathering a little bit of attention. And I definitely don't mind that little bit of fun attention where we come across 2 alliance players and we got their attention and they waved at us, which is really fun. But zones like Duskwood were going to be even darker than they are now, and like Duskwood was going to be like pitch black where you could barely see anything, so that like secondary profession was going to be super helpful for players to navigate through like those areas of the world and to explore the world at night. But of course it never made it to the launch of the game, and I don't think it even made it like super far into like the game development cycle, and was mostly just like a fun thing that they were messing around with. But of course the light sources in this game are pretty cool, where we can use a torch and we can run around and it lights up the area around us, which is a really fun detail and I like it a lot. But of course we can see some of these famous Defias pillagers, which are the number 2 most deadly in Westfall and the number 6 most deadly in all of Azeroth, where Defias pillagers in the original vanilla version of the game were the single most deadly mobs in all of Azeroth, where the number 1 most deadly here in this version of the game is Defias Trapper, where Defias pillagers were responsible for the most enemy kills in the original launch of vanilla. And that's kind of due in 2 parts. One is because humans are the most popular race in World of Warcraft. So basically there's just a ton of humans coming through this area of the world, so there was more opportunities for these pillagers to kill these humans that were just running around here. And number 2 is that they are super deadly, and I am kind of concerned that I might just die here. So let's go ahead, just run away. Oh, this is not how it ends. Tell me I'm alive. 9 health. We killed one of them. That's kind of what I was going for there. Okay. So yeah, they deal a ton of damage and they can easily kill you, as you saw right there where I almost died. I was at 9 health. That was kind of insane. Good thing we had the swiftness potion from the Barons. But we can see there are some harvest golems, and then in that field there are harvest reapers, and I'll go ahead and kill one where we can maybe get a flask of oil, which we would need for this quest, which we can collect 5 in order to complete the quest. Where there are some other quests you do as a human character where you kill these harvester golems or harvest golems where you would get the flasks of oil, so it's kind of smart to save them for the future quests that you do with Captain Grayson. But I think with that was the second big thing that I wanted to do in this episode, where first we got to Westfall, which I thought was going to be like a super big challenge, I guess, but it ended up being not too big of a challenge, where we didn't get attacked by any enemies and we just jumped off the Zeppelin and swam here. But then we killed the special giant Murloc, Old Murk-Eye, and we got his eye, I believe, and we turned that in and we completed that quest, where we could complete these 2 as well, but I'm going to go ahead and call that good. Where I want to go ahead and do a third and final thing, where if we weren't going to die from getting to Westfall, and if we weren't going to die from Old Murk-Eye or any of the enemies around here, like the Defias Pillager that almost killed us right there, we are most definitely 100% going to die in the next like 5 minutes from what I am about to do. And basically what I want to do is to go into Elven Forest and kind of reenact a lore moment from the history of World of Warcraft and the Warcraft universe, where of course we are currently running through Westfall, and we are in the Kingdom of Stormwind, where there is Westfall, Duskwood, Redridge Mountains, and Elven Forest, which are all zones that are a part of the Kingdom of Stormwind. There's a Night Elf Druid over there and a Human Mage up here, where this kingdom is basically the last bastion of humanity left in the world, where we can see, Koteris still exists and Gilneas still exists, but they're incredibly isolationist and they don't really want to help out with other people. And then we see other pockets of humanity here and there, where with the War Within we learn that there's a pocket of the Arathorian Empire, or of the Strom Empire, that is present in where the War Within expansion is taking place in Kaz Algar, which is southeast of Kalimdor. But with vanilla World of Warcraft, we can see that the Kingdom of Stormwind is the last bastion of humanity, where with the events of Warcraft 2 and Warcraft 3, all of the other human kingdoms have basically kind of been annihilated for the most part, especially with Warcraft 3, where we see that we are undead characters who are from the Kingdom of Lordaeron, or presumably we were once citizens of Lordaeron, which was one of the greatest human kingdoms. That was basically the title name for the Alliance of Lordaeron during the Second War and into the events that transpired right after the Second War with Nethergard Keep and Beyond the Dark Portal and whatnot. But when the Cult of the Damned spread the plague through Lordaeron, and Arthas Menethil turned against his people because of the corruptions of Frostmourne and Mal'Ganis, we can see that all of Lordaeron was destroyed and turned into undead for the most part, with some pockets of humanity still remaining in Hillsbrad, and then there's the nearby human kingdoms of Dalaran, and then the Argent Crusade and the Scarlet Crusade and whatnot. And at this moment it was the Argent Dawn, not the Argent Crusade. But when the undead revolted against the forces of the Lich King, and they formed the Forsaken, which is a collection of freewild undead, many different Forsaken wanted to travel across the continent all the way down to Stormwind to basically reunite with their families and friends that were not turned into undead, where these are people who were really recently humans, and of course many of them have relatives that are in Stormwind, and they basically live in this area of the world once upon a time, and they were visiting Lordaeron, where they just feel connected to these non-undead humans that exist here in Stormwind, where a ton of humans basically traveled all the way here, as I said, and tried to negotiate with the humans and make contact and try to sort things out and to make peace and to ally themselves with the alliance that they were once a part of very, very recently before they were turned into the undead. And there was a very swift response by the Kingdom of Stormwind to these undead that were traveling here to basically try to see their families and friends that they love so much once again. And that response was a swift death, where all the undead that traveled to Stormwind were instantly wiped out by the Alliance soldiers here, where I basically want to reenact that event, where we see the gates of Stormwind right here, and we are a level 17 undead, where we will not be able to survive against the guards here, but we can go ahead and try to get as far as possible, maybe even into Stormwind. But I am on the outskirts of the gates of Stormwind, so let's go ahead and pop our Power Word Shield, and let's go ahead pop our Swiftness Potion. Let's do it here and do Psychic Scream, where that did not work, and we did not even get into Stormwind City. It looks like those Tauren were able to get into Stormwind, but we did not. So that is the end of this character's life, where we can see these two humans running past now, and we're kind of floating in the air, which is really fun, and we can see a soul fragment right there, and these humans kind of just staring at me and probably being like, oh, why are you here? But I made it this far, which is not as far as these other characters right here. But that is basically what happened to the undead that traveled all the way across the world and just wanted to see their friends. The Stormwind City Guard just wiped them out, and we are now done with this character, where I have explored a bunch of different places in Azeroth in the series, and I basically did everything that I wanted to do, mostly in Terrace Fog Glades and Silver Pine Forest, where I was really hoping I could get to this moment and not die along the way, and it looks like we got pretty close to dying, but we survived. Where I really appreciate everyone who has watched these last few episodes, and I'm going to go ahead and call things good here, where I have one final hardcore Let's Play series that is going to be pretty similar in style to this Let's Play series that I want to explore, which you'll see coming up on my channel soon, in a couple of weeks probably. And you can also see if you die at Stormwind, you get sent all the way to Eastvale Logging Camp on the eastern side of Elven Forest as a horde character, and you don't go like right here, which is like super annoying. And that was like the same with Wrathlich Keen, which was like super difficult when you were trying to attack Stormwind for like the achievement or whatever. Anyways, with that, I'm going to go ahead and call this episode good here, where I really hope you enjoyed this series, and I hope you all are taking good care of yourselves. Remember, as always, to drink some water, check your posture, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time in the world of Azeroth. Goodbye.